at the top of the stone wall. An original story written and read by Dave Hawkins. Copyright 2018. Part 8.
Ah, Hupstead said out aloud. I didn't get his name, and what it was he was carrying. Still, pleasant enough fellow. The path gave rise to brisk walking. A gentle breeze blowing slightly from behind helped him progress. Each rise invited one to stop and admire the golden green hills, the contours forming geometric patterns that cajoled one to making mental notes for some future art project. It almost begged one to hanker after a companion to share the spectacle. Swoon and her appeal once more played on Hupstead's thoughts. Not unpleasantly so, enough to keep him going and stimulate him to remember details, should he ever get the chance to relate this part of his journey to her. Girls are not often fond of long walks, so telling her about it would be better than actually having her with him. The hills and dales continued, and Hupstead marched resolutely on. As is the practice of modern man, he was not wearing a wristwatch and relied on his cell phone to tell the time. None of this looks at all familiar. No signposts or markers, no bird sounds. That's odd. He pulled his cell phone from his pocket and noted with dismay that the battery was about to give in. Enough time only for him to see the digits 10:30 before it was gone. He put it back in his pocket and pulled out the dry toast and egg he had saved from breakfast. They did indeed taste wonderful after his route march. Spurred on by his quick meal, it crossed his mind that he should have packed his water bottle at the same time he had packed his knife right in the beginning. The breeze turned warm and then almost hot. His clothes began to feel sticky and sweaty, save for the hole in his trousers at the knee, which was the only part of him exposed to the air. Uncomfortable and thirsty, Hupstead searched for a source of water. After cresting 2 more hills, he saw one. One doesn't have to be out and about for too long before you learn that a very green patch in the middle of mostly yellow and brown means water. It was off the path to the left and some 50 paces distant. After identifying the most promising route to get there, Hupstead took a step into the grass. In an instant it was as if he could hear the friendly cowboy's voice in his head. Don't ever stray off the path. There didn't seem to be a reason why not. Hupstead had not seen an animal since his arrival. He stopped and scanned the fields for danger. A hidden hole perhaps, a snake invisibly curled close to the water. Surely not a big cat lying in ambush, camouflaged by its colour. After an incredibly long 1 minute of searching had revealed nothing, his parched throat urged him on. He took another step. Again the voice. Straight over the hill, you'll find it. Don't ever stray off the path. Hupstead hesitated, made up his mind, and made for the green patch. As he neared it, the image of the cowboy waving goodbye over his shoulder flashed in front of Hupstead's eyes. A tiny pool, clear as crystal and clean, drew Hupstead to kneel down at its edge. He tried a small sip. It tasted like nectar to a throat as dry as his. Soon he was slurping noisily from cupped hands. Water fell on his shirt and trousers. He noted how cool it felt on his bare skin as it trickled over the hole in the knee. It was a welcome break from the hot road close by. Hupstead was still on his haunches and began to gather his thoughts. The cowboy's words going through his head moments before, he put down to thirst and heat. Not quite heat exhaustion or delirium, but something akin to it, although he had felt strong throughout it all. As he shifted position and sat, he became aware that someone was watching him, and from close by. It wasn't scary, and it wasn't an animal. It was definitely a person. Slowly he looked round and then over his shoulder. Nothing. The pool was in a slight depression, but did not obscure a good view of the surroundings. He couldn't see anything, so Hupstead waited. Had the cowboy come back? No, it was not the same energy. Then who? In this strange place it could be anybody, Hupstead thought. After a few moments he stood to his feet to get a better look. Strangely, as he did so, the feeling of being watched left him. There was no sound, No indication of someone leaving. Just as he wondered whether he had dreamed it all, he saw movement. It was the tall, gaunt man in the distance, and walking away in the grass, not on the path. That's a relief, but still begs the question, who is he? Hupp asked himself. He picked his way back towards the path, and had made it halfway when the gaunt man melted over the horizon. Hupstead was alone, except he wasn't. The feeling of somebody watching him had returned. Again, not scary, but Hupstead hastened to reach the path and a slightly better viewpoint. He'd only taken 4 steps when a voice called from behind him. "Hey, who are you?"